Hey, welcome in. Well, if you wonder why almost every celebrity is woke and progressive and Orange Man bad, and just never seem to have an original or independent thought, well, this is why. Here's the headline. Disney fires actress Gina Carano after post comparing hating someone over politics to Nazi Germany. And what did she actually post? It was this. Jews were beaten in the streets not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them for simply being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? So what she's saying here is that how you get people to do horrible things to other people is you get them to hate each other. You divide them, and then you say that there is your enemy, which is exactly what's happening, isn't it? And if she were, vocally progressive or far left or whatever, there would be no problem with this. But we know what she's talking about. She's talking about stop demonizing Trump supporters. Maybe stop calling them terrorists, that sort of thing, right? And so what happened? Well, Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Lucasfilm, a production company that is owned by Disney, said in a statement. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. What? That's what they read into this? I mean, this is not an anti-Semitic post. If you want that, you can go to tons of blue checkmark lefties on Twitter. They've really got no problem with it. I mean, the Ayatollahs on Twitter, they don't have a problem with that. So this doesn't even make sense. Denigrating people, she's not doing that. And there is nothing abhorrent about this. This is actually a uniting message. I plea for a unity, saying don't demonize your neighbors. That's a bad idea. That leads to terrible places. She's warning of where this kind of demonization leads to. And, again, if she had been a vocal progressive and had posted something along these lines, she would have been fine. How do we know that? Well, we know it because Pedro Pascal, who is the star of The Mandalorean, which is the big show that Gina Carano was in before she just got fired, he posted this a couple of years ago, or a few years ago. Here, it's got a picture of Germany 1944, America 2018. But I guess in his case, in Pedro Pascal's case, it's just fine. Why? Because he's an outspoken opponent of Trump and anything conservative. He's basically as woke as it gets. But there's actually another story, which is, I think, a bigger story, much bigger story, actually. Just going to interrupt for 1 second to say, if you like this content, subscribe so you can see more. Thanks a lot. Here it says, Twitter says it permanently suspended Project Veritas, locked founder James O'Keefe out of his account. And I wonder why they would want to do this. Well, underneath it says, Project Veritas has recently obtained leaks from whistleblowers in Twitter and Facebook. And also at CNN. They got a leak from a CNN meeting, which was very embarrassing for the head of CNN. So basically, this is just undercover journalism. It's investigative journalism. As far as I can tell, it's one of the only sources of investigative journalism left anywhere. And his targets are often, media companies and big tech. And they don't like that, so they want to get rid of them. Says Twitter says it has permanently suspended the account of right-wing guerrilla news outlet Project Veritas and locked its founder James O'Keefe out of his account. A spokesperson for Twitter said that Project Veritas was permanently suspended for repeated violations of Twitter's private information policy. Okay, so all those Trump leaks, right? Those were fine. Those are just fine. I wonder why this is different. Well, he's going after them. Let's see. They say that O'Keefe is required to delete the violative tweet to regain access to their account. So I guess Twitter really feels it's in a good position to decide what information you can see and what information you can't see, especially private information, probably especially if it has anything to do with them. And let's see, Fox News has learned that the suspension came just 20 minutes after Project Veritas attempted to appeal Twitter's decision to lock both accounts after they shared a video showing Project Veritas journalist Christian Hartsock approaching Facebook executive Guy Rosen outside his home. A Facebook executive. Little too close to home for Twitter, I'm thinking. And the confrontation was over remarks he made during an internal video conference that was previously leaked to Project Veritas. Let's see. In the leaked video that Project Veritas released last week, Rosen, who was Facebook's vice president of integrity, I'm sure there's no irony in that, I'm sure. He's heard saying on the January 7 conference that the tech giant has a system of being able to freeze commenting on threads that are flagged as containing hate speech or violence. I wonder if that's really what they're going off, or if it's just simply speech they don't like. In a statement to Fox News, O'Keefe said Twitter's claim that his tweets published private information was false. Remember, that's how they blocked the New York Post story. Remember that? They said it was publishing private information after all the leaks that they had allowed to just exist, as long as they were hurtful to Trump, right? After all of that, then suddenly it becomes about, we can't publish private information. Sure. Anyway, O'Keefe says, I will not kneel. Twitter is wrong. Let them kneel. Got to admire this guy. And, it's not surprising as well when you see, this was not that long ago from James O'Keefe. Breaking, Twitter insider secretly records CEO Jack detailing agenda for further political censorship. Quote, we are focused on one account, the real Donald Trump, right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account, and it's going to go on for much longer. And he wasn't kidding, was he? And yeah, that was Project Veritas reporting on that. And, well, I guess Jack meant it, didn't he? Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's Radio Baloney, the podcast. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.